Well, hello everyone. I am finally doing my second part 2 video of my experience getting the COVID-19 vaccine. I got my second dose last week and I'm just now getting an opportunity to kind of chat about my experience. So let's just kind of recap. I first did a video explaining all of the research that I perused in order to feel more comfortable taking the vaccine. And in this video, I'm going to just kind of make more of a personal testimony of what my experience was with the second dose. So just to review, I got the Pfizer vaccine, and with that one, you do the second dose 21 days after you've gotten the first dose of the vaccine. And so similarly, there was pain at the injection site. That's one of the highest percentage of side effects people should expect to have after the first and second dose. And a lot of my friends endorsed fatigue and headache. As I was kind of gearing up to get my second shot, I was a little bit nervous because the current rotation that I'm on is fairly long hours, and I just didn't feel like battling a headache and fatigue at work. I just did not feel like that was something I would want to do last week. And so how to approach that. So one thought process that people offer is, oh, I'll just take a Tylenol or an ibuprofen before I get the shot. That way I'll be good to go and won't have to worry about those symptoms. So that's actually not recommended, and I'll tell you why. The vaccine is supposed to mount an immune response. That's something I talked about in the last video. The fevers that we feel, the fatigue that we feel whenever we're generally sick is our immune system like working. So you don't want to blunt that response, that initial response, by giving yourself Tylenol or ibuprofen. So you want your immune system to kind of be revved up and start working to confer an immune response against the COVID-19 virus. So you shouldn't take a Tylenol or ibuprofen before you get the shot, but what I did was I took it not too long after I got the shot. So I got the shot maybe around 4:30 on Tuesday. I didn't feel anything immediately, so that's something to also note. The symptoms were more so found within 24 to 48 hours after receiving your shot. And so I didn't take anything immediately. I just kind of like took it easy for the rest of the day. And I did go ahead and take a Tylenol that night, just because, like I said, I would have to wake up early the next morning and work all day, and I just didn't want any issues. And so I did that, and I remember it was around 8:00 a.m. that following Wednesday morning that I did start to feel what I would call some body aches. I could kind of start to feel my back feeling a little tingly, the way it feels when I usually have gotten a cold in the past, because I actually haven't gotten the common cold in quite a while thanks to all the mask wearing. So that's something I'll talk about at the end of this video. But last year I got sick a lot. And so I remember, like, you can kind of start to feel your muscles starting to ache. And so I started having that feeling on Wednesday morning. So I immediately just took another Tylenol. I just didn't want to wait to feel bad. And I also had a heating pad, which I always bring a heating pad to work because we sit down a lot and we're up and moving a lot, so it just keeps me comfortable. And so I already had my heating pad going, and I even had a little electronic little back massager. In fact, I'm gonna show you all the things that I had. Let me just hold on, I'll bring them right back. Alrighty, so why don't we just call this segment of the video Jasmine's post-vaccination preparation kit. So I have extra strength Tylenol. I don't take NSAIDs because I had a little issue with a little stomach ulcer not too long ago, and so if you've ever had that issue as well, avoid things like ibuprofen and Aleve. You don't want to exacerbate the little ulcer that you might have had. So extra strength Tylenol will do you just fine. Here is my heating pad. As you can tell, I've had it for quite some time because it's kind of torn. I got this little puppy. This is from Bed Bath & Beyond. It's like a little back massager. I got it maybe a year ago. Again, we sit down a lot. Everyone sits down a lot because we're always charting at computers, typing notes. You know, a lot of jobs you sit down a lot. And so this helps for that. And I also had this, another Bed Bath & Beyond favorite that I got last year. And what you do is it's full of clay. You put it in the microwave to heat it up for like 1 minute. And then you let it just kind of soothe and relax your tension, you know, from all of that typing and charting and figuring things out. So these are things that I had before the pandemic. And it just really came in handy after I got my second dose, simply because I just wanted to feel comfortable. I was nervous about feeling the fatigue I had heard about. And once I did those things, I kind of kept the worst of it at bay. I could still tell that I wasn't 100% like my normal self. And so that is what I did during Wednesday. So Wednesday night, I took a nice Epsom salt bath. Again, a pre-pandemic Jasmine favorite, and definitely during a pandemic, a Jasmine favorite. That also helped to just soothe my muscles, because I was really concerned about the body aches. But I never really got a headache. And the fatigue is a symptom that I can't personally subjectively report, because the way my work schedule is set up, I'm just always a little tired. So I really can't tell you if I was any more or less tired than I would be any other day. But the body aches was something that I was very much paying close attention to. And a lesser known symptom that I did experience, because I just want to be totally transparent with you guys, this is a TMI alert. I did have some loose stools, okay? Loose stools. I wouldn't call it all right diarrhea, because it didn't last all day. Just during that second day, like after I had received the vaccine, my stools, which is the medical term for poop, let's just, poop, they were a little looser than they were usually. And so I had read that was a possibility, a lesser known, but a possibility of a side effect to the vaccine. So that's the one I happened to experience. I tend to have a lot of stomach issues in general, and so maybe that my body was just more used to that kind of side effect. I should state here that I also felt palpitations, like a racing heartbeat sensation, but I'm not sure if that was an actual symptom of the vaccine or just nervousness. I made sure I went to sleep at a decent hour and got up plenty of sleep, and the next day I felt really fine, to my surprise. And so that was my experience, and literally everyone's experience has been different. A lot of people did have a rougher time getting over those initial symptoms of the headache and the fatigue and things of that nature. And other people were able to just kind of push through the day using ibuprofen or Tylenol and things like that. The point that I want to get across is that those symptoms are evidence that your body is mounting an immune response thanks to the vaccine. And so that brings me to my next segment to just talk about, now that I've gotten my second dose, what does that mean? So what that means is my body is building up the antibodies and will offer a protective effect against the COVID-19 virus in about 2 weeks after the second dose. So with the Pfizer vaccine trial, that data, that's the one I looked at the most, because that's the vaccine that I received. They saw that 7 days after the second dose of the vaccine, only 8 people who received the actual vaccine got confirmed COVID-19 cases. That's compared to 162 of the people who received the placebo. And so that is where we get the number of 95% efficacy. So that's important to note, that that's kind of how they measured the effectiveness of it. Between the people who got the vaccine and the people who got the placebo saline solution, out of those people who actually got the COVID-19 infection. There is still a possibility of being infected with the virus, but it's so much less than if you didn't have the vaccine at all, that I felt like that was worth the benefit of receiving the vaccine, to have that extra layer of protection. What does this mean for people who received their second dose and it's been about 2 weeks? It means you continue to wear a mask. That's what it means, because honestly, it's going to take a lot more people to receive the vaccine for us to achieve what is called herd immunity. That's what we achieve with the other viruses from the past that I mentioned in my first video, like the smallpox and polio. You have to have a certain amount, a percentage of the population has to receive the vaccine in order to confer that herd immunity. I was trying to find the exact numbers that we would need, at least here in America, to achieve that herd immunity, but there were so many different percentages because I think it's just because the studies are ongoing in order to see, okay, natural immunity versus the vaccine immunity, like how can we achieve this herd immunity? And I just think I'm going to just wait to see what the data shows because I can't give you an exact number now. Therefore, to reiterate my point, that's why it's important to continue to do the social distancing, continue to do your mask wearing, continue to wash hands, frequently. Like all of those things are going to be important moving forward to really kind of overcome this. This vaccine is just another really good piece of the puzzle to overcome this pandemic. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, I hadn't really had any common cold like I have had in previous years during the wintry months. And I really do think I know that the masks are helping in that regard. Even in the hospital, there hasn't been like an overwhelming amount of kids who have asthma exacerbations or other common upper respiratory illnesses that kids often come in with during the winter months. There's just been less cases of it. The other thing I just wanted to reiterate is the importance of keeping your own body healthy. I mentioned how even after I got the vaccine, it was really important for me to kind of keep my stress levels down. That was with all of my gear over here, the massager, the bath, all of those things that really helped keep my stress levels low because I was really stressed out about what if I receive these effects, like how is it going to feel? That's a very natural thing to be concerned about. In my case, it really ended up not being anything too much to worry about. And in other people's cases, they told me they felt fine after they took some ibuprofen and got some good sleep. And so sleep is another thing that's going to be helpful in general for your overall health and immunity moving forward. Eating well, again, is something that we just should not stop doing even after you get the vaccine, after the pandemic. Eating well is always gonna offer you a really good natural protection. A lot of you know that I've started the juicing and getting all of those really good antioxidants from all of those leafy green vegetables that I put in my juice processor is helpful. So it's just not like a one-stop shop. It's all about doing all the different types of methods you can to keep yourself healthy and keep yourself balanced. And I think that that's just something the pandemic has taught me. And I hope that that's something you've taken away from it as well. That's all I have to say for today. And so until next time, this is all on finding a better way.